Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Sierra Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and usually I'm producing, but today I am your host. So I'm so excited to be hosting this first episode of the year. Happy New Year, y'all. Woo! I want to just talk to you briefly. It's the new year. And obviously, as we step into 2025, it's time to truly talk about what we want. Resolutions, I think, are cute, but without a real plan and a strategy and the right mindset, I think we're setting ourselves up for failure. So today we're going to try to break the cycle through conversation and explore how to have a change lasting change, whether you're chasing personal goals, professional dreams, or you just want to show up for yourself better. This conversation is all about leveling up. So let's get started. Today I want to introduce you to our wonderful panel. I am here with Chile, who is my real estate queen, Dr. Felice, who is my Be Big coach and therapist, Joe Corley, who is our male resident therapist. And so this is my panel today. Let's get into this conversation. So, guys, y'all, Happy New Year, first of all. How are you guys
Happy New
feeling
Year.
today? How y'all feeling?
Happy
I'm
New
feeling
Year.
good.
You
I'm
feeling
Yes.
good?
excited, optimistic. Yeah.
Yes. So I want to
Mhm.
just go through and just talk about do we have New Year's resolutions? I'll start with you, Shalay. Do you have a New Year's resolutions and what are they?
I don't have a New Year's resolution. I think I stopped doing resolutions maybe about 20 years ago. I now I kind of make I've made promises to myself. And then also what I get in the habit of doing is like having a theme for the year, like naming the year. Like last year was my year of expansion. And
Mm-hmm.
Lord, did I expand? Okay.
Yes.
Not necessarily in the way that I thought, but I'm between two words for this year. I still haven't decided yet.
Okay. All right. Joe, do you have any resolutions?
No, I haven't put no resolutions yet together. I'm actually probably going to write myself a little letter about all the things that I want to accomplish this year, and then go from there. But I haven't really centered my mind around exactly everything I want to do. But it's going to be a better year than it was last year for sure, because last year was rough on me.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Felice?
So I don't really subscribe to resolutions. I think that resolutions are so fleeting and they don't really stick, or I haven't seen people's resolutions really stick. So what I do is I start out in the last quarter, like around October to December, and I start getting intentional and reviewing my life over the year. And so I come up with an intentional plan of, well, first I go back and look at and analyze how my year went. And then I figure out, I have this thing that I go by, that I list all these questions and give myself a checklist about what that was like. And then how do I want to move forward next year?
Hmm. I basically do the same thing as you, Felice. I sometime around October, my mind and my body start to make that transition, and I think I read like a Mel Robbins book that was like, "Don't start on New Year's. Like, start in September. Start that last quarter of the year." So I start to do 100-mile walks right after Thanksgiving. Just getting myself ready for the new year. So it's not like today, the new year, and I'm like, okay, this is what I got to do, and then feeling the pressure of it being like the first of the year. On the first of the year, I'm gonna do this and this and this and this. So I agree with you on that. So let's get a little bit more personal. What things do we want this year? Like, what do you want this year, y'all? Like, if you could, let's like reverse engineer this thing. So
Mhm.
at the end of the right, so we got to start at the finish. What is it that you would want to see if we're having this conversation January 1st, 2026? What would you like to have seen be done? And also, I want to give people a chance. There's a few people in here, so I want to hear your resolutions as well. Please put them in the chat. What do you want this year? What do you want? We want to hear that. So I'm going to start with you, Joe. What do you want to look back and say, like, and I know you already said, like, I got to center myself, but let's dream a little bit. So like what do you want?
So I experienced a little bit of growth this year, business wise, and I kind of wasn't all the way ready for it. So that brought me some anxiety. So I want
Mm.
to be able to be ready for all the things that are happening for me, and not feel like I'm catching up or I'm behind. So towards the end of the year, my hope is that um, all these streams of income that are headed my way, all the things that are in right now that I'm like prepared for. I'm like no anxiety whatsoever around them. Like there's a place for this, there's a place for that, and I'm just ready to go. So that's the main thing that I'm like looking forward to, because I see the explosion already happening. So like me wishing for it is like redundant at this point. Like it's happening. Um,
Yeah.
I just want to be ready for it and feel like I'm calm
Yeah.
amongst it. You know.
Calm to receive it, calm to in the right mindset or the right place to receive all that's coming your way.
Yes.
So does that also include business strategy? Like, are there things that you need to put in place that you would say,
Right.
are there things that need to be put in place?
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely have to get more structured. I'm not structured the way that I should be. So I'm like putting strategies in place, and like I'm saying, like coming on here every day is like kind of eye opening, and lining myself up with these women who talk about these things on a regular basis. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's more to it than just rolling the ball out there and getting to it. You know what I mean? Like you got to have things in place for the things that you are trying to accomplish. So my structure is not there, but it's getting there. So I'm trying to put things in place at the top of the year, um, so that I can enjoy the things that are happening. I'm really not getting an opportunity to enjoy it because I'm always feeling anxious about it.
Because you always feel anxious. Yeah. Like you can't really enjoy the moment. What about you, Felice?
So I want to triple my salary, my net this year. That is what I want by the end of 2026. And I'm hoping that and believing that the work that I've done in fourth quarter to see that happen will start to play out. And so that's what I want.
So creating structure, tripling three times your
Three
income,
times. Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Three times your income.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. What about you, Shalay?
Yeah, so what y'all both said, Felice and Dr. Joe, like I'm right there with you. Dr. Joe, I'm also feeling those growing pains in my business. And 2024, the last quarter, I put in a lot of work and then I lost an assistant. And like realized that everything in my business, well, not everything, but things were coming to a halt. And when you have all these plates spinning, if you're not personally spinning them, like you start to drop the plates, right? And
Hmm.
you can't keep it going. So definitely, and I've been working on it with my coach, the structure of my business and building that back up so that I can be consistent, persistent, efficient in my business. And as far as what Dr. Felice said, yes, girl, tripling tripling the salary sounds awesome. I actually have a business plan that I'm still working on with a coach of mine, and the number is very ambitious, but I believe I can hit that goal. And doing the work that I did in the fourth quarter, my first quarter is going to be great. So as long as I can keep that momentum going and really get that structure in my business, that would be amazing. For me personally, I want to feel like I feel you, Joe, on the anxiety. I want to feel, and being an entrepreneur, it's hard to actually get there and have this 100% of the time, like have the
Hmm.
balance 100% of the time. But I have two little girls, I have my business, I have these opportunities. I want to feel calmer.
Hmm.
I want to feel calmer. I want to be able to enjoy the moments and not
Hmm.
always be thinking about the future and
Hmm.
what am I doing now that's going to affect the future, but really being present, enjoying the moment. And just at the end of the year, December 31st, 2025, I want to feel like just fulfillment. I feel like
Hmm.
we're doing all of these things that we do, the making more money, the putting the goals in place in order to feel what we think is happiness. And we think that in doing all of these things, that will give us the happiness. So I just, if I could feel that fulfillment within myself, like I did my best this year, I leveled up and
Mhm.
feel that in my heart, I would be totally happy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. So that, I think this year is about, for me, I hear you all saying, like, I want to triple and I want to be calm and I want to be in it. And I'm right there with you in terms of that. But I think in order for me to do that, I got to take a little bit off my plate almost, like, and start doing the things that are a little smarter versus just to be doing it. Like me taking, one of the things that I did is I reached out to all of my clients, all of my prospective clients, my existing clients, and said, hey, is there, instead of me running out to find more people to service, I said, how can I serve you more? So then, obviously, if I can serve you more, that means I make more money. We already have a good thing going, right? So
Right.
how can I serve you and help you more if that is an option? And three of my clients this morning was like, you know what? There are ways. So automatically that puts me in a place where I've already, well, I'm not yet. We haven't, but we're
Yeah.
talking about that. I could have possibly 2x my income just based off asking a question. And so for me, I want to just be smarter about the process. I think running around is giving me more anxiety. And then also just to get out of bed and make sure that I'm sticking to my regimens, making sure that when I wake up in the morning, I'm not allowing the outside world to get involved in my morning and take me off. I keep my phone on do not disturb these days, purposely. I don't want, I remember when I used to leave my phone on, people would call me 5 o'clock in the morning, like, and start talking to me about their things, their stuff. I'm like, it's 5 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
My mom used to call me and be like, did you see that guy died last night? Mom, it is 6 a.m. So just making sure that I'm managing my morning and making sure I'm managing my evenings, I'm planning well. And then and then I'm kind of surrendering, right, knowing that I'm putting the work in. I think a part of like calming is kind of a surrender. Last night when I was at
Mm,
church, I was like, God, I just want to surrender this thing to you. Let me do the work, but let me
mm,
just throw my hands up and say, all right, I'm gonna meet you halfway, but I'm not gonna get in the way of what you try to do. Like, I feel like sometimes we want to do all the things and not trust that there's this, that the universe or God or whatever you believe is also working with you, if not
mhm.
carrying you. So don't get me to preaching, but that's kind of where I am and kind of the clarity that I woke up with this morning. Um, so Joe, here's my question: how do we stay? How do we steer clear of distractions? From, they say that, no, let me just ask that. How do we steer clear of distractions?
Well, I'm going to be saying there's probably a lot today, and recognizing the truth about accountability to yourself. Like if you're not changing things, then you're choosing things, right? So you're making a choice, and at the end of the day, however this thing is making you feel, you're choosing it. So you're talking about staying clear of distractions. It's like small, like micro changes that you might need to make in your daily habits to eventually lead to the big change. You can't just wake up one day and say, I'm gonna stop smoking. Okay,
Mm,
no, I'm only gonna smoke this many today. Okay, and then a couple weeks down the line it turns into this many, then it turns into none. So like taking the time to like be patient with yourself, don't beat yourself up for the failures, and like making these micro changes, eventually you get rid of the distractions or the things that are keeping you away from whatever your goals are. um, and also giving yourself permission, like you said, like your mom's calling you at 6 in the morning. You got to get yourself some permission to be like, I ain't answering that,
for sure.
and that's
Yeah.
okay. And that's okay. You got to make space for yourself because you're the ship that keeps everything afloat. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so if you're sinking, then everybody's sinking anyway. So you're not really doing anything for anybody because you're broke down or eventually just completely broken. So.
Mm. So, Felice, they say, I saw a study that said that people quit their New Year's resolutions by the second Friday of January.
Mhm.
the second Friday of January. That's literally like next week. People are in the gym right now. They're like, okay, this is what's going to happen. And then by next Friday, it's going to be over. So, how can we get people, how can people get over the not quit hump?
That's a really great question. And it's about having a plan, right? So, what we do is we have these January 1st motivates us, right? It's the new year. We get this hype and this fire, but that fire fizzles out really quick. And so, if you don't have a plan to go by, then you don't have something that can help you stay on track. And so that's what happens is fizzles. You have no plan. And then you have nobody that's holding you accountable to the plan. And so a lot of times we need that extra support or that extra check-in to say, hey, how you doing with this? And so you've got to have a plan. And I like what you said earlier when you said, I'm doing a little bit smarter and I am not trying to do all things. So
Mhm.
there's a book out called The One Thing. And what people need to do is they need to find that one thing that they're going to do, right? Do that one thing and do it well. Have
Mhm.
accountability with it when it comes to it. Have check-ins, have support. Think about Weight Watchers, right? Weight Watchers is still here today because they have a plan. And that
Mhm.
plan really is based upon, right? Accountability. Like those people have to come in every week and they have to get on the scale, and that scale is going to tell them where they at, and then they got to get around a group of people and be like, hey, my name is Felice and I weighed in at this month, right? But
Mhm.
it's no judgment. It's just to say, hey, we see you and we're here for you. And then
Mhm.
when they're around those people, right, it's almost like a mastermind. Those people are imparting ideas about how they can stay on track, how they can maintain their progress, how they can keep track with their goals. And so that you don't feel like you're going in this circle, but people are giving you ideas about what you can do differently, what you can do better, what you can do that will not make it feel dull or boring, right? Or feel like when you start to feel like you might be getting stagnant or you reach a peak, how you can get over those peaks. And so all of those things will help you to be able to keep your fire, to keep your enthusiasm, and to make sure you keep your promise to staying on track and reaching your goal. But that's not the key either, because it's easy to reach your goal. It's the maintenance that's the key. And
Mhm.
so then how do you keep maintenance? And so you got to create and get more creative about how you add a new fire or spin to that first goal so that it keeps that momentum going.
I think that is great. I mean, you said so many things, but I'm gonna go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and we're gonna come back, and I'm gonna throw something to Chile. So we'll be right back. Hey, if you're just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. I am Tierra Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I am the proud producer of this show. So I hope that every day when you join us, you leave a little smarter than you came, because that's the point. Otherwise, why are you watching? So if you want to receive notices for when we go live, Fly Nubian Money goes live every single day. That's Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you don't know, now you know. All you have to do is text the word Queens. That's Queens. That's Queens to 87948. That's 87948. That's Queens to 87948. Yes? If you want. Yes, that's Queens to 87948, y'all. If you want to get notifications for when we go live, make sure in this new year that you are texting us and connecting with us. And yeah, you'll get those notifications when we go live. So we're having a conversation right now about how to stick to our New Year's goals. First of all, happy New Year, everyone. We are so glad that you are here with us. You could be anywhere in the world, but you are here with us trying to figure out how to keep these goals together. So we are excited about that. So Chile,
Mhm.
let's talk a little bit about, Dr. Felice talked a lot about motivation, and getting around the right people. How do you find your tribe? Like, what is the process to finding people that are like-minded? How do you go about that, and how do you approach that?
So, what I have found and really come into understanding, I think the last maybe 5 years of before that, feeling like, sometimes you find your tribe and sometimes you don't. Like, it depends on where you are in life, like physically, mentally, emotionally, what who you are around at those times. I feel like if you go and do the thing, or get into do the thing, or get on the path to doing the thing that you actually want to do and accomplish, you're more likely to find people who are on that path who can be that support system for you. Because if you just wake up and you just look around, the people that you naturally have in your environment or have access to, those may not be the people who end up being the best support for you, just because they're around you and they may love you or whatever. So I think that part of the best way of finding your tribe is to go forth, and not necessarily saying being fearless, but be courageous and go forth and do what it is that you want to do, move towards that goal. And then I feel like your tribe will naturally be showing up. But you also have to, I feel like, and I know this is a issue for me, like I'm used to being very independent and doing things on my own, and we just can't operate like that and elevate, right? So the asking for help is a huge thing. And it's made a huge difference in my life, where I got to the point where I can actually be like, you know what, Shalay, you superwoman, but you ain't superwoman. Like, you can't do everything all the time. Like, I'm multi-passionate, multi-talented. But I can't do all of that at once. You know what I'm saying? And you need help. And being able to ask for help is a skill. And maybe Dr. Felice and Dr. Joe can speak to that and give us some tips on how, if we are a hyper independent person, which I know is a trauma response, like how we can actually go about learning the skill of asking for help.
Yes. Joe, Felice, you want to take that, or you both can take it?
It's going to take practice, right? And acknowledging that that's who you are is the first step, right? The self-awareness and the insight. And then you have to practice, who do you trust already that's in your inner circle, that you know has your back, that you truly trust? Let them know and be transparent and vulnerable about where you are with that. Let them know, hey, I struggle with asking for help. So in those areas where you think that I may need it, can you kind of give me a nudge and say, hey, you think you might need some help in this area? And so that might help you to ease into being able to ask, because first, that also requires trust. And so a lot of times we don't ask people because we don't trust that they can do what it is we do and how we show up the way we show up. And so it takes trust. And so maybe a little nudge, and then you practicing, right? Saying, getting little nuggets, like put little posters up saying, do you need help? Do you need to ask? Like little things that will help you remind it to be like, hey, yeah, I think I might need some. And thank you for checking in with me. Right. And then that practice. And when you start settling in that and seeing, hey, okay, because sometimes we rush over things too quick and we don't sit in stuff. And so when you sit in what it feels like, to know what it's like to receive help. And that's what Black women need to start doing. We need to sit in that help and realize, oh my gosh, you mean to tell me I've been mowing the lawn and all I had to do was ask JoJo to come down the block real quick and he would relieve me. And I got other stuff that could free me up. Like when you sit in that, you start to get addicted to, oh, okay. And so you start slowly building your village and being able to pinpoint who can do what for you, right?
It is so true. It is so true.
You'll grow into it, you'll ease into it, and then you'll figure out, okay, this thing is pretty good. Yeah.
I have learned that to do that. I have learned over the years that, okay, you need to do that. But I also find, you settle back sometimes into your subconscious programming. And I find that sometimes, because some people also look at you like you're the one who can do it all, right? And then so it's like getting out of that mindset of not wanting to be seen as needy or weak. So that's the sitting in it, right? Like not wanting to be seen as needy or weak, and then also not wanting to be taken advantage of, because some people are transactional. So it's really about it's about so many things. It's about discernment of who you can trust to ask to do certain things. It's like
you need to call me.
That's right. Yeah. So speaking of being multi hyphenate, Dr. Felice mentioned the one thing, and what I give my clients, my clients that tend to have like an ADHD or like a that are just like super talented or super creative, I tend to give them that book. It's in my Audible. I read it 2 months ago. It's like it's even my reminder. Like, wait. We trying to focus. We trying to do too much. So,
Mhm.
Joe, my question to you is like, how do you focus? How do you find your one thing? Like, what thing? How do you decide if you have so many talents? How do you decide on what you want to do in that moment without being scatterbrained? And then just like then take that and use that as momentum to go to the next thing. But how do you shut it down? How do you choose?
That's a very good question. That's something I struggle with myself, but I've learned to like prioritize the things um, that are in front of me. You know what I mean? Like what needs to be done in the most immediate time frame. And other things can be pushed aside. And then I just push that thing aside and focus on the one thing. And at the end of the day, I can be comfortable with the one thing that I accomplished. Because if I didn't get it all done, at least I got this thing done, and then tomorrow I can work on the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But I tend to write everything down when I feel flustered. I write everything down, okay, and then I prioritize it, right, like what needs to be done immediately, and that always works for me, and I do that
Mhm.
every time. I even have like this little notepad that I carry around, that every single thought that comes in my head, I put it down there, and then if I'm looking at it the whole thing, I'm just sitting, right? I'm not accomplishing anything, and I say, well, what's something I can do right now, without anybody's help, you know what I mean? Where I don't have to wait on something. And then I just do that. And then that's that. And I get it out of the way. Because otherwise it's gonna be nothing. I'm gonna do nothing. So no, that's the alternative. So do this one thing or do nothing and it be mad at myself at the end of the day. And that just, that it's that 1, 2, 3, just go type of mentality. And
Yeah.
that's what you have to do sometimes. Push yourself out the bed, push yourself off the desk, whatever you gotta do.
Yeah, I want to talk about that, the momentum of things, but I'm going to talk about it right after we come back from this break. You want to grow your money and not blow your money, as Constance says, check us out at flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, programs, videos, resources. In 2024, there's no reason to be broke when there's information all around us. So get your money right. Flynubianmoney.com. Joe. Get your money right. FlyNubianMoney.com. You guys, you know what we do at FlyNubianMoney.com. Listen, there are people in here talking about that they want to triple and double their revenue, make some extra money on the side. Go to FlyNubianMoney.com. I think it's a great place to start. So, all right, I want to talk a bit about momentum, right? Like momentum, and actually, like you said, Joe, I think I heard Mel Robbins. Mel Robbins is a big thing today for me, but she does that whole thing like 1, 2, 3, or it's like a little countdown, and then you just get up. Like that's the whole science behind just getting. Yours is 1, 2, 3, get up. But for those people that may struggle with that, may struggle with finding that inner like, because that inner motivation, how do we find that to actually like get to the momentum? Because once you get started, usually you keep going, right? But it's about like once you get started and actually make it through the hard parts that feel lonely, that feel like, can I do this, the doubt, the loop, the process. I think people give up too easily on the process. So um Felice, how do you people not give up on the process while we're there in it? How do they stop doubting and fearing and saying like, oh, maybe this isn't for me?
Oh, that's a great question. And so I can only go by, what I do and what I share with a lot of my clients is that, first of all, you know, um, they're even finding scientifically that people who are spiritual um, have greater success and handle their mental well-being a whole lot better when they have a spiritual side to them. So I know that I depend heavily on my faith walk, right? And so I know that helps centers me. So I do a lot of mindfulness and centeredness walk, right? But then you also have to discover, what's your why? What is that? What's your why? Why would you want to be motivated in the first place? Is it your children? Do you want to make sure that they don't have to go through what you went through? Is it you want to see your grandchild walk down the aisle? Figure out what your why is. Then be able to identify what your purpose is too. Because when you don't have a purpose, right, you just out there in la la land, kind of flagging around. And so you can't keep up momentum when you don't know what your purpose is and you don't have a why. So you got to figure out those two things. And then what you need to do is you need to start finding a village of people who do it better than you and who are willing to impart in you and give back to you and pass the baton or give you some information. Surround yourself with coaches. That's biblical. Wise counsel makes you successful. And so those people are going to cheer you on when you're feeling low or you're feeling like you can't go on. That person's going to be like, hey, we got you. You can do this. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Like Shayla said earlier, a lot of us, especially, Black and brown women, they're so independent, so used to having to pull them own selves up by the bootstrap that they don't ask for help. And so it does feel like they're on an island. And when you feel like you're all alone and that there's no one to help you and support you, you can give up. And a lot of times you will give up. But you got to know that there are people out there who may not be walking in your path, but it feels similar and they know what they can do to help you. And if people are there, that there's people who want to help you get to the finish line. You got to find those people. And so I always start out real small. I don't try to give people a whole lot of stuff because I can go. But I'm just going to say you got to figure out your why. You got to figure out your purpose. And then you got to figure out your village of people who will surround you and encourage you. And you can do little things like this podcast. I know I saw Dr. Boyce Watkins. I listen to him at 10 o'clock in the morning because what he do, he gets my mindset on money, right? So I'm like, oh, shoot. Like, even if I think I might want to get a little bit down, I'm like, all right, here come Boyce, right? So he's like, pep it up and he will put a fire in you. And then like I'll listen to other people, other people that I love to hear that get me revved up when I start to feel a little low. I'm like, okay, who can I get that I can listen to that's going to get this fire stirred up in me and get me, up out of this funk, right? So sometimes, like David did, you got to encourage yourself because sometimes you can't call on people. They're not there. You got to encourage yourself. You got to know that you are equipped to do this thing, that you were put here for a reason. So let's get to it.
Yeah, to add to that, one of my strategies is like every time I go out, I get steps in, right? It's a thing. I love to go outside and be with nature. And I think even that is like, we are nature, right? We are one of God's creation. So it's natural that when you go outside, there's a grounding that you feel, right? So when I go out, I'll just put on YouTube and I'll say, if I'm feeling fear, if I'm feeling like I need confidence, if I feel like I need courage, if I feel like whatever that thing is for the day that I feel like I'm lacking, I'll just like get on YouTube and find a video. And then I'll just listen to it and then my walks are about 90 minutes. So like I'll just listen to videos along that lines. And usually by the end of it, I go, okay, I got it. So my question for you, Shalay, is how do you find purpose?
Ooh, that's a great question. That's a really great question. And I think that it's an ever evolving answer to that. That's just my perspective from where I am in life right now, because my purpose 10 years ago is different from my purpose now. And so, it's it's challenging to pinpoint for me the one purpose, what I have done to pinpoint my purpose. That's why I give every year a purpose. Like I say, I name that year, like what I want to accomplish in a name. And for me, what I have done to help me discover my purpose at a given time, we talk about accountability. I stay in coaching. Like I stay in coaching with my business. I stay in personal development coaching. I think Dr. Joe was on one of the podcasts we did a couple of weeks ago where I'm looking for a great therapist, because that's also important, because you got to remove the stuff. We have so much stuff that we're inundated with, where it's programming from our childhood, It's programming from everything that we receive on a daily basis, everything we're receiving on a monthly basis. So I think that decluttering our minds and getting our mindset right is going to give us the clarity to help find our purpose in a given time. I know for me right now, my purpose is to build up my wealth and my empire and my impact for not only just me, but for my girls. That is my purpose right now. In 20 years from now, when my girls are 22 and 27, my purpose is going to probably look a little different.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one of the things that I do to stay kind of on track with what is my purpose right now, and going back to the question that you had asked before about momentum and how do I push through, the funks that inevitably, try to get us down, right? I feel like we have to find the small wins, because we can talk about it on like a macro level, like these are the things we need to do. But like when you're feeling that sadness and you're feeling that depression or whatever it is, or just feeling defeated, like you say, you go out and you do the walk and then you find a podcast. Same with me. I find a podcast like, okay, I need to get out 10 a.m. money in the morning. I'm on there. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And also like finding the small wins. So what is the small win that happened yesterday or that happened this week that I can celebrate, and then using that celebration to propel me into a better energetic vibration to where I can bounce off of that and be like, okay, I'm ready to go. So that's something that I practice on a daily basis. Like, what can I be grateful for? Like, yeah, this thing is going on. Y'all, I have a transaction that was supposed to close on Friday, and this tenant is still in the house, and we're trying to figure it out. And that's a nice check. And I'm like, I need that check. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so it's bothering me. It's in my ether, right? It's bothering me. And it's like, is it going to close or is it not going to close? But what are the other things that I have done this week and accomplished, or what are the other things that I'm grateful for that I can use that as an energetic springboard
Mm-hmm.
to propel me back into gratitude, my creation,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, I love that. I love that. I love that. And actually, I want to also ask the chat. I'm so interested in knowing what is your purpose? What do you feel like is your purpose this year? Or how do you approach finding purpose and giving back? I saw a stat that says only 8% of people stick to their New Year's resolutions for the entire year. So I think that people, when I believe that sometimes when we're walking around, we see a lot of people that have kind of like just started to become zombies. They're like just existing. They go to work, they clock in. If you live in an environment, like sometimes I live in Los Angeles now, but when I go back and see my family elsewhere, it feels like they're in a space where they just exist. There's nobody dreaming as big and thinking as big. And I think a lot of people are like that. Like I think a lot of people have kind of checked out in life. And so, Joe, for people that have checked out, and we've talked about purpose a little bit, if I come into your office as someone who says like I feel like I'm here to do great things, I have a purpose, I just don't know what that is, and how I'm supposed to be giving back, how would you advise me as a therapist?
So I'm gonna center around a few things, right? First, I'm gonna tap into like whatever your core values are. And you're like, well, I don't know what my core values. Let's talk about it. Like, what makes you sad? Like, what breaks your heart? Okay, and let's talk about that. What makes you righteously angry? And when I say righteous anger, I'm not talking about you looking at Keisha's new purse and you just so mad about it because you didn't get it first. You know what I'm talking about? What what is righteous thing that makes you like angry in this world? And then what gives you like joy? What gives you joy? And we can talk about those things. And I'm gonna be like listening and picking off the things that you're saying, and I'm gonna say, okay, well, this sounds like these are your core values. These are the things that matter to you the most. And then we're going to talk about like what gifts you have in this world. Because I mean, everybody's been blessed with some gifts, and you're tapping into those things that you're just good at. You know,
Mhm.
like what are you actually good at? What are people gonna come to you for? That are good for you, that are
Mhm.
you do well. And then we're going to talk about, your past experiences, right? The things that hurt you in the past, the things that, leaned into what were the hard times in your life, you know? Where have you seen yourself come through and overcome? Who are your heroes? Who has impacted you the most in your lifetime, and what were they doing that made you feel like they were significant? You know, all of these things. Um, and we're gonna start packaging them and really like finding your purpose. We're gonna find your why in the midst of all of those things. All right.
Love it.
Yeah, and that's where we go, because yeah, a part of you is gonna be some people are gonna be so scared of what they find that they're probably gonna try to run from it, right?
Mm, mm,
You know what I mean? They're
that's
gonna,
right.
but if the more you run away from your purpose, the harder your life, the harder your life is going to be. All right,
Mm,
the harder
I
your
love that.
so.
I love it. You guys, we have to take a quick break, but I do have, I got some other questions because this is good for me. This is good for my spirit. Hopefully it's good for you all that are watching. We see you, we see the comments. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back. Fly Nubian Money is now on Spotify. Yes, yes, yes. We are on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, you can listen to us. All you have to do is search Fly Nubian Money and we will appear. All of our episodes. Make sure that you leave a 5-star rating and reviews so other people that come along and are looking for a good show to watch, they'll follow us too. If you are interested in being on Fly Nubian Money, sorry, I don't have any spaces. I'm just playing. If you are interested in being a queen or a king on Fly Nubian Money for the day, please reach out to me. I'm at info@realvirtual.net. That's info@realvirtual.net. Also, if you need help with your business, go ahead and send me an email for that too. Okay. I've said enough. Now back to the show. Oh my goodness. We are having a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful conversation about how to stick to your New Year's resolutions, how to find purpose, how to find momentum, how to find a tribe, a community. I mean, you guys have given me so much to think about. Joe, you said something, and I was just listening, right? Like I didn't want to interrupt or anything, but I was like, I gotta ask about that. But now that it's gone, I was just in it. I was present. So it'll come back to me. And I'm so mad about it because it's gonna come back to me. But you were talking about the process of finding purpose. And so I guess Felice, I want to know when we're in the middle of just trying to find ourselves, right? And I want to make this, I want to stick to finding goals, but in these times when we're trying to find ourselves and make money and compete with the Joneses, and we don't have the time to like really sit and process. I feel like as soon as something is happening in the media or around us, we have to process it so quickly and throw it to the back and then keep going, and it just like we're so overstimulated. And so I think that's a part of us wanting to run in all of these different directions. Like, how can we anchor our spirits? How can we center ourselves so we can go after those big things? So we can even think clearly. Like, how do how thinking clearly is part of being able to, get to the bag or get to the big dreams.
Yeah. So one of the things is that we make time for things that matter to us. Like I know people say that we don't have time. One of the things that I did last year was that, I started changing my relationship with the concept of time. We do have time to do the things that we want to do if you change the way you look at time. And so I share is that, I ask people what is their day like? Like how do you start? How do you finish? So that we can help figure out where in that time can you do some centering. And so you've got to find time for yourself. And this is what I tell people, that special time is your time to invest in you. Who better to do the work and that needs to be done than you investing in you? And so take that time to invest in you. I like the early parts of the morning, right? Because I think that when you start, the way you start your day is the way your day can flow. And so if you immediately jump out of bed and start with the shower and if you recognize and slow down long, your day is like that all day. But if you take time to say, I'm going to invest in myself and get still, right? And so that is a skill. to get still. And so you just get still first thing in the morning. And that could be anything with a nice cup of coffee, watching the sunrise, listening to calming music or calming sounds, devotion, a prayer, a scripture, whatever that time is, that is going to center you to give you the time to start investing in yourself so you can start doing some introspection. Because
Yeah.
until you know who it is, who you are, and then who you believe you're becoming, you really can't focus and get clarity on your passion, which I believe is a part of your purpose. What are you passionate about? What are
Mm-hmm.
those things that you are naturally good at that just comes to you? That is possibly your purpose. That
Mm-hmm.
is your gift to the world, and you
Mm-hmm.
can monetize it. And so, what does that mean? That means that you got to be able to develop that, but you must first know who you are and who you're becoming, because that's
Mm.
going to help you to get to those steps that you need to create to get and start crystallizing your purpose. Start getting some specifics around it, start getting some details that you can start putting down on paper, because you must write the vision.
Mm-hmm.
Once you write the vision and make it plain, it is a wrap. It is done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to repeat that. When you write the vision and make it plain, it is done. But
It's
everything
done.
starts with the thought. So you got to start getting some alone time and start getting those thoughts to come to you. Start getting those ideas, because then those thoughts can have something, it can start working and start materializing and start coming to you. And so it's a process, but that's where I'm gonna stop right there, because I know I can keep
Yeah.
going in a
You
minute,
know,
but
I
that's where I'm
don't
gonna stop.
I love it. And I don't want you all to miss it, right? We're talking about purpose, and I purposely wanted to and very intentional about approaching it this way, because I hear a lot of people being very result oriented. I want to triple, I want to double my income, I want to do all of that. But in order to get there, to even have that mindset to maximize your money, you have to have you gotta do some inner work. You gotta know who you are, what you like, what the
Mhm.
gifts are, what the I hope you're not missing that from our therapist and from Chalet, that you just gotta know where you're going to get there. Like you
And
get in a
that's
car. Go ahead, go
no,
ahead.
no, 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 and you're hitting on something, because a lot of people, I say to my clients, I'm like, the universe don't know what to do with Lala. Okay, so like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I think I wanna
Mhm.
lose weight. Well, how?
Mm-hmm.
How much?
Mm-hmm.
When?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it starts with a thought, a desire, and then you've got to start creating a plan, right? And so the universe works with specifics. It don't do la la. And so that's why a lot of people find themselves in circles, going
Mm-hmm.
around and around and around, because they just throwing out la la. Well,
Yeah.
it's gotta be specific. It's gotta be detailed, because then the universe can support you. And I'm
Yeah.
not actually new wave. I believe God is the universe. And so God can work with you. He can start saying, okay, all right, now I know I got Joe down the street who's going to cross your path, and he's going to give you this so that you can take that and you can run with it. Like, you got to have details. And so I hope that encourages people to start finding ways to spend time, because even in those quiet moments, you're going to start getting downloads.
Yeah.
You're going to start getting ideas. You need to, in your quiet time, have a journal and a pen,
Mm-hmm.
because things are going to start dropping. I don't care what it is that comes to you. When it comes to you, you write it down, because eventually, with time and your process, it's all going to start filling in the gaps and start piecing together. And you're going to start being able to go back and look at those ideas and thoughts that came to you in your quiet time. You're going to be like, oh, shoot, that's why that came to me. And then when you go back and you look at it, you're like, well, I could piece this with this, and this is going to make that. And so that quiet time is also the time where you're going to start getting ideas dropped into your spirit. And
Mm-hmm.
all of those ideas are not in vain. They are to be used, but you got to be patient with the process, because just because the idea is today, it could be 10 years from now. I've looked back at some of my stuff, and it's taken about ten years before I've seen it really come.
Yeah.
I wanted to write a book for so long. I wrote that book about 10 years ago. That was my idea. And I wrote it last year, right? And so it may not happen today, but because you wrote it down, it's a wrap. And so that's why it's so important to get quiet, to get still, and to invest in yourself and start identifying who you are, who you're becoming, And then what's it going to take?
Yeah. You know, thank God it came back to me because Joe said something earlier and I was like, oh, God, you want me to say something? But I do believe you said something about looking back and looking at past traumas and junk that was in your past that may affect how you show up today. So I believe, and I had a visual about this. I believe that with every new morning, we get a new opportunity. It's almost like a new year every single day, right? Because the oldest, you can't get it back, you can't get yesterday back. But what I think that I tell my daughter all the time, I said, I think what people do is just to keep like affirming the negative or whatever it is, they pick things up from yesterday and they bring it into the new day, and then they'll drag stuff and be like, here, let me pick this up, wait, this hurt me, so I'm gonna just bring it, instead of just saying, I'm gonna just put this down and walk into the new year, or I'm gonna walk into this new day, or I'm just gonna use this next moment as a new, right? I feel like every new second, if you really break it down, is new. So if we could forget, and I know this is not possible, Dr. Joe and Dr. Felice, to forget, but I think that there's something so magical about being able to forget things and just like go into the new. So my question is, and I'm gonna come to you, Shalay, in a minute, but I'm gonna go back to Joe. How can we not become bag ladies and gentlemen saying like, I'm gonna just take the stuff from yesterday and pull it in and carry it over into this next day with me, instead just walking freely without trauma and baggage and bitterness and ugliness and all of the things that we tend to carry with us.
So part of it is like being repetitive about the truth and being honest with yourself constantly. Like you said already, you cannot go back. That's a reality. You know, as much as you might want to, as much as you might want to do things differently, if you can go back and do, you just cannot do it. So in reality, you can't do it. So telling yourself that, and this might sound small to some people out there, but telling yourself that repeatedly, eventually it becomes fact to you. You start recognizing that there is absolutely nothing I can do about what happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do
Period.
anything about it. I cannot change it. And the reality is that it happened. So anytime you are beginning your sentence with the word should, you are losing.
Mm-hmm.
And for me personally, in my own journey, I had a therapist that checked me every single time I said should, to the point where I finally stopped saying it because I got tired of being checked about it. So, and then I started, after my therapist started checking me, I started checking me, right? So then eventually it just became like, ain't nothing I can do about that. That happened already. What am I going to do moving forward that can make my situation better than it was before? Because that's all I had. I don't have any time machines. I don't have any get back. All I have is what I can do now. And that might sound like, well, of course, but honestly, the what I want you to take away from what I'm saying is being repetitive about it, because
Mm-hmm.
eventually it starts becoming your reality, your truth. You start really recognizing and accepting that all you can do is go forward.
I'm gonna go to commercial, but I love that. So Shalay, I'm gonna throw this to you, but I don't want you to answer until after. I just want to give you some time to think about it. It sounds like there's a level of discipline that you have every day. You have to train yourself and retrain and rewire and have a different discipline. And so, how do you approach rewiring your brain to not think those negative thoughts, to not drag things into tomorrow? So we're going to answer that when we come back from this break.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl Constance Carter. Where am I? I am on a yacht in the Baltimore Harbor, and I am doing my 7-figure strategic planning solo, baby. I plan on having a 7-figure year. I partnered with the Fly Nubian Money, and we are putting together a training that's going to help you to put together your 6 and 7-figure ecosystem. Yes, there are things that you need to do, strategies you need to put in place so that you can implement and have a 6 to 7-figure year if you don't already have one. If you got a 6-figure year, let's go ahead and get you a 7-figure one. If you got a 5-figure year, let's get you a 6-figure. Let's get you there. Join me in the Fly Nubian Money Club. and let's grow your money in 2025.
Yes, yes. So that's what I'm saying. Like we got all types. I am so committed with the Fly Nubian Money Club to bringing in top experts to helping you elevate here, right? Like six, seven figures, depending on where you are. But you got to have the mindset to come. This Saturday, we are having another training, our second training. And I want to teach you how to take your figures from six to seven, but you got to be ready. So, Shalea is about to tell us about having the discipline to even get to six or seven figures. How do we do it? How do we rewire?
Yes, rewiring and reprogramming is so important because mindset is everything. And all of the battles that we fight on a daily basis is in our mind. Every single thing. Like there are physical obstacles, but every single thing that we fight, it begins in the mind. So, one of my favorite quotes, and I'll say the quote first. So, one of my favorite quotes is from Bob Proctor. It is what it is, accept it. Harvest the good, forget the rest. I literally 2024 was a great year and I've had some challenges too. And when those challenges came up, and just like Joe was saying, the repetitiveness, literally drilling it into your mind, because you'll have good days and then you'll have bad days where this stuff comes to attack you. You'll have good days where you feel like you have forgotten it and you're over it and you're moving forward. And then that next day, you're like, wait a minute, why is this thing up on me as potent as it is right now? And it's infiltrating everything and it's affecting me in my daily, life and what I'm trying to get accomplished. So definitely that quote, when as soon as I feel it coming up on me, it is what it is. Accept it. I can't change it. I can't go back to the past and change it. It is what it is. Accept it. I'm going to harvest the good. I'm going to look for something in that is good and that's going to serve me on my highest good. And it always is, because it's a lesson. There's always something in there, even in bad situations that happen to us. It's usually because God is sending us a lesson, or the universe is sending us a lesson that we actually need to learn. So harvest the good. The good can be rejection. Rejection is redirection. So
That's right.
harvest the good, forget the rest, and just drilling that in. And also the truth piece that Jill was talking about. Got to be 100% honest with yourself about what it is that you're struggling with and what your part in it was, and forgiving that, giving yourself the grace enough to forgive that. Because I feel like part of us holding on to things is that we haven't forgiven ourselves for having that experience. And I think it's so important for us to forgive ourselves for having our experience, because every single situation that we're in, if we are a person who's striving to do and has the intention to do the best that we can, every situation that we're in, we're only doing the best we can at that time with the information that we have at that time.
That's right.
So allowing ourselves that grace to be able to say, you know what? That was before I knew this. That was before this was revealed. I forgive myself for that and giving myself that grace to do that. And then making the choice. Definitely, I'm telling you, like 2024, there have been times I'm like, no, I choose not to feel that way anymore. And literally that day, even if it comes back on me the next day, that day I can feel it like literally like melting off of me. That worry, that anxiety, whatever it is. When I do my prayer to God and I say, you know what? Right now in this moment, I'm making the choice not to feel this way about this anymore. It is what it is. Harvest the good, forget the rest. And I go on with my day. That's something that I have definitely been putting in practice this past year. It's something that I have been imparting on my 7-year-old daughter, who is in this space where she's really emotional and sensitive about things. And I started telling her, this is how I started practicing it. I started telling her, no, you have a choice. You can choose a different emotion right now. And I'm like, wait a minute. If I'm telling my 7-year-old this, I need to be able to do this too. So I'm like, I choose a different emotion right now. I choose not to hold on to it, and I choose not to bring that into tomorrow. Now, if it shows up, I deal with it and I do it again, repetitive.
All right. I'll take that. You guys, the hour is up. The hour we have talked about a little bit of everything, and it has been so It's been so nutritional in the best ways for my spirit. I'm even inspired to get off and go, even more inspired than I was when I woke up this morning. So for that, I thank you. So I'm just gonna take us into our final thoughts. Tell the people, of course, where they can find you, but also, if you could give them one word that could take them through the year, what would that be? I'll start with you, Joe.
You is the one word that I would get. You start with yourself. I'm personally listening to Dr. Felice, and she's right. I've gotten away from a good morning mindfulness routine, and that's my bad. You got to start with yourself. I got to take care of myself so that I can take care of the things that I need to take care of, and I'm advising everybody to do the same thing. Whatever it is that you got to deal with, put the rest of this stuff on the back burner, and take care of yourself because you will be exponentially more productive if you are whole, healthy, and well. And I'm just leave it at that. And you can find me at Joe Corley on all platforms. And again, if you're looking to start that journey, spark that journey, real you, the letter U, consulting.com. Take an appointment, set up a consult, and we can talk about how to get that going.
Perfect. I love that. Uh Felice, what do you got for me? Where can they find you, and what's that piece of what can we take with us?
So I'm going to say for 2025, because I believe that 2025 is going to be, I'm not going to say it's not going to be filled with challenges, but I think that it's going to be a good year, a really good year for people. If you believe, you got to make sure you stay in belief mode. Believe what God put on the inside of you. Believe that you have the tools to get back up in case something or life does happen. Believe that your gifts and talents will make room for you. Believe that if you write the vision and make it plain, it's done and you'll become it. Believe that you can do this thing. You can do it if you just believe. And you got to fight the good fight of faith. You got to do what Joe was saying. You got to do what Shayla was saying. Be repetitive. When those negative thoughts come, challenge them, get them out the way, stay in your present, and keep believing. You can do this. And you can find me. I'm the Be Big Coach. I am Felice Hightower Britt on Facebook. I'm the Be Big Coach on Facebook, Instagram, and I think I'm on TikTok too. And you can go to my website, thebebigcoach.com. And Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes, Chalet.
I believe that from gratitude stems everything wonderful. I believe that if we can be conscious enough, like consciously be grateful for something every single day, like consciously wake up and ask ourselves, what are the 3 things that we are grateful for? I believe that once you get into that energy flow, then it's a springboard for the other things that you want to manifest. So I do believe that gratitude is one of the most important practices that you can do. I've been practicing it myself. It is definitely every time I'm in a tough spot, it helps me get out of it. What I'm not focusing on what is so tough or challenging about this. That is going to be, it is what it is. What am I grateful for? And it just allows you to shift your mindset and shift your energy, which is the most important thing. But your energy is going to follow your mindset. So again, all of our battles are fought and won in our mind, and just shifting that energy away from negativity and being conscious of the truth. I'm being negative in this moment, or I'm fixating on a negative thing. And what am I grateful for? Because us living in this day and time, we have so many things that we can be grateful for and things that we take for granted every single day. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be small things, small wins. So absolutely, definitely gratitude for 2025. I am Chalet Camillo, CEO of Vital Source Realty. I can help you move, sell, or buy a home or a property anywhere in the US. You can reach out to me at vitalsourcerealty.com and find me on social media everywhere at Chalet Camillo.
Yeah, I love that. My last or final thought would be just to not quit. Don't quit. Next Friday, according to statistics, you are going to feel like you want to quit. And the thing about quitting is that you'll never see what you can be if you don't keep walking, if you don't keep going. Some days you will want to quit. Some days you will flat out be like, I'm taking a break. I can't do this no more. But the key is the very next day to get up and say, okay, I'm going to do a little bit. Just don't do. Progress is progress. It doesn't have to be on 10. I know today you like, I want to do all the things and everything gotta, but you don't. The truth is, you can just take small steps because progress is progress. So make a goal, right? Make that goal, but just walk towards it. Just keep walking towards it. Don't quit. Don't stop eat if you're trying to go vegan or if you're trying to be whatever it is. I'm joining one of the queens on nutrition. One of Marlo, our queen, is doing a bodybuilding contest. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna eat with you because I gotta get ready for these music videos that I'm producing next month. But I was like, I wanna eat with you. And today and last night I went and bought my little oatmeal. Now I know for sure these first 10 days, just eating raw vegetables and fruit is going to be tough, right? But I'm just gonna, maybe I don't have to do what Marlo is doing. I'm just gonna do a version of what she's doing because I don't have the aspiration. We don't have the same aspirations, but I want to be on this journey with her, but also like get some of that inspiration that that I'm getting from her. So I just encourage you to take that. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood. I help creatives, I help entrepreneurs. I take all of this experience that I learned in Hollywood and I help people in their business take their business to the next level. I am also the creator of the Fly Nubian Money Club. Listen, this Saturday we have our second training. Like I said already, Constance Carter is coming. And if you know Constance Carter, you know she is coming with all the jewels, all the noise, all the realness, and just going to really help us take it to the next level. And it is my promise again to help you take it to the next level financially, but you have to take it to the next level with your mindset. So that is all I have for you today. Um, Kings and queens, thank you so much for joining me today. And everyone watching, like we said, we know that you could be a million other places, but you're here with us just trying to get your mind right and trying to get your money right. So we appreciate that. We will be here tomorrow. Same time, same place, trying to figure it out and just trying to change the world, y'all. We're trying to change the world around here. So we'll see you tomorrow. We love you. Happy New Year, and see you tomorrow.